Hi, I'm Leah. I'm coming to you from the dafs Community Kitchen here on the Menominee Reservation in Kashina, and today we're going to show you a recipe based on elderbox contents. What we have for you today is a dish referred to as Laab, L-A-A-B, or in some areas it's pronounced Larb, L-A-R-B. Laab is a dish that comes to us from Southeast Asia, primarily Laos and Thailand. And it uses usually ground meat. You could do this with any ground meat that you have on hand, whether it be ground bison, ground venison, ground beef. Today we're going to show you how to do it with ground pork. You could also do it with ground turkey or ground chicken. So in a saute pan, we browned off the pork until it was no longer pink in the center and just thoroughly cooked. Our pork today was very lean. If your meat was exuding a lot of grease as you sauteed it, go ahead and drain that grease off, and then you'll be left with something that looks like this. While your pork is still warm, we're going to start with all the other ingredients. I know it looks like a lot, and it kind of is, but it's a really nice way to showcase a lot of the bounty of our summer gardens. So what we have to start with to season the Laab will be lime juice. I have a little bit of lime zest. We have some green onions, some chopped cilantro, some chopped mint, some chopped basil, a little bit of ginger, a little bit of fresh garlic. If you like it spicy, we have a little bit of diced fresh chili, and we also have some red chili flake. The other ingredients used will be a little bit of sugar, and then we have some toasted wild rice powder. That's wild rice that we've toasted in a saute pan and put in a food processor and ground really fine so that it's almost like a flour. In Thailand, they use regular sticky rice and they do the same process. We just wanted to show you the technique using wild rice. One of the other hallmarks of Southeast Asian cuisine is the use of fish sauce. The one we're using today looks like this. Fish sauce is to Southeast Asians what soy sauce is to Japanese or Chinese cooking. All fish sauce is fish that's been fermented a little bit, salt in a barrel, almost like making a pickle, and then they strain the juice off. Don't be scared that it's fish sauce and it, really fishy or something like that. It's just a really salty flavor with a bit extra in the base. The hallmarks of Thai cuisine are the flavors and the flavor combinations of hot, sour, salty, and sweet. So this recipe is really nice at home because you can really customize it to what your family enjoys. If you don't like spice, leave out the red chili flake or the red peppers. If you don't have all the herbs or you have different herbs you want to try, by all means experiment. They use lime a lot in their cuisine. You could use lemon if you had lemon, just something to provide that kind of acidic kick. With the fresh ginger, we use fresh ginger root. It looks like this at the grocery store. One technique we like to use is just to take a spoon, and when using the fresh ginger, you'll just want to peel back that outer skin. It's really thin. It comes off easy with a spoon, and then we have this little tool called a microplane. You could also just use the fine grater on like a cheese grater, and then we just rub it back and forth, and then it will collect all the minced garlic, minced ginger, whatever you're doing on the other side of the blade. These are really sharp. They were used originally in woodworking, the woodworking rasps, and they're a really nice tool to have in the kitchen if you don't have one already. If you didn't have a cheese grater or you didn't have the microplane, you could just dice it really finely with a knife. So now that we have all our ingredients assembled, we're going to be combining all of these to get where we want with that hot, sour, salty, sweet blend. And like we talked about before, this is really customizable. You like it a little sweet, add a little more sugar. You don't want it as sweet, you can pull back on those ingredients. So we're going to take some of our lime juice, the fish sauce, a little bit of the sugar. I'm not going to add it all. And then we'll kind of mix those together first and just taste and see where it's at. This one's a little salty, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more lime juice and a little bit more sugar just to balance it out. Taking a fresh spoon in between so that no one has the one that you just tasted. And we'll mix it up again. Much better. From there, you can go ahead and add all the ingredients we just talked about. You're going to add a little bit of the lime zest, or all of it, as the case may be. The green onions, the cilantro, the basil, the mint, the ground ginger. I don't like mine super garlicky, so I'm not going to add all of the garlic. You could also cook the garlic in with your pork or your ground meat if you don't want it to have quite as pungent of a garlic taste. That will mellow it a little. We like our spicy here, so I'm going to go ahead and add the diced fresh chili and also some of the red chili flake. We're going to mix all of those up. And you get kind of almost a wet-looking salad then once you have all the herbs in. It'll look something like this. And then when your pork is still warm, we'll go ahead and add those ingredients into the pork. It's nice if you add the herbs in directly when the pork is off the stove, because the warmth of the meat will really help all those flavors to bloom. And then we're just going to mix that in with our ground meat. In this case, it was the ground pork. And then traditionally, this is just served in a lettuce wrap. We've been getting really beautiful lettuces in the elder box. So we're going to show how to plate one using the lettuce wraps. This is also really delicious, served with a little bit of rice on the side. It could be wild rice, it could be white rice, brown rice, whatever your family likes at home. So we'll take our little lettuce leaf here. You could put a little rice in the base if you wanted. And then we're just going to add our Laab mixture to that. And then when you go to eat it, you can almost just pinch it shut and eat it like a little burrito. Or you can go to making a whole bunch in advance. These are especially nice if you have a little party or a gathering. You could plate them all out in advance. We also have today from the garden these really pretty nasturtium leaves. They kind of look like a big lily pad. And they have a little bit of a black peppery bite, almost like an arugula. Those are also really nice, so we'll do the same thing that we did with the lettuce leaf, just placing a little in the middle, and these ones you could wrap like little cigars. We have a little basil fresh mint, and this is what the nasturtium flower looks like. We'll add those just as a little added garnish to your plate. And then if you had any of the Laab mixture left over that you didn't include in your meat, pour it over some of the fresh cucumbers that you get in your elder box, and that makes a really nice complete meal. So we can just put a little of those cucumbers on the side. And there is your pork lap. Enjoy.